Hello, all you wonderful folks. I'm so sorry for the minor delays. For whatever reason, it was replicating a stream key, even though we had already put a new key in earlier today. So, really goofy. For that, I'm so sorry. As always, I am Jackson Wood. I am the marketing and events coordinator for Japanime Games. I do a variety of different things, but I'm here to give you the weekly recap. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, even if there is interaction, just because it is the last one of the year. And as always, I'll go back through and put timestamps in based on what I talk about in today's stream. But we will not be back until after January 1st. So next week, it is Christmas, and I'm going to be busy doing gifts and holiday stuff with my very close-knit, the people who are already in my household. So I'm not going anywhere and I'm not doing anything. It's just the people who I, have to live with anyway. Choose to live with them, but, and then the week after that is New Year's Day. So I'm not going to be doing anything on New Year's Day either. I'm going to be relaxing and chilling out like you all are. So the next time you will see me on the stream will be January 8th. So January 8th will be the time. We're also going to try out a Saturday in the future to see if that works. We tried one before, but it didn't really pan out. So we're gonna try it again. We're gonna see what days work well. So we're just gonna jump right into it. You may have received an email. If you didn't, there will be a follow-up email coming that just talks about the delays that we are experiencing due to shipping. A number of ports in China got closed due to a resurgence of COVID, and that is coupled with the fact that there are not enough containers coming back into China to cycle things out. So with those factors together, we just put out the announcement on all of our Kickstarters that things are delayed, but we also sent out a large email. And again, if you didn't get it, there's going to be a follow-up one that says, hey, here's what's going on. We just want to be upfront about that. We had expected to get everything on time, and then we just got the update. So, big bummer there. You may have also seen Naruto Ninja Arena. That is coming up in the future. So that is a simultaneous dice-rolling Clash-style game. It's the Roll and Clash system, I do believe, is the name of it. That's coming out of the Kedama folk, so Antoine Balza, Theo Riviere, a bunch of really good names. I've mentioned them before, but I'm going to keep talking about them because it's part of what I do. Really excited for those. The game is great. We have a number of other games coming up in the future as well, so Japanime Tactics being a big one. There's some other secret projects for next year. Tanto Anniversary for Kickstarter. Kamigami Cthulhu for Kickstarters. Testament, Tokyo Sidekick. Again, all of those are a little bit delayed right now, but they're coming. Ramen and The Last Brave. I already mentioned Japanime Tactics. And we got a number of other smaller games that are a little bit outside of what we do normally. So you're going to see those as well, and that could be... We're trying to look into doing different games than just licensed games. We want to do licensed stuff because licenses are cool and fun, but we want to do things that are also unlicensed. So things like Ramen, things like The Last Brave, Testament, Tokyo Sidekick. Our goal is always to bring you the best games that we can find in Japan, especially if we can get our hands on them. So that's a lot of what we're working for right now. And that's kind of just the big overall summary of things. There's delays and we have these games coming. And coincidentally, those two are linked together. So beyond that, as always, if you have questions throughout the chat, I will do my best to answer them. I may not have the answers, and if I don't, I'll tell you why I don't have those answers. But things that are important otherwise right now, currently, USPS, which is what we do a majority of our shipments through, they are not doing a very good job of scanning packages. And so we've gotten an influx of concerned emails and messages about packages. If you don't know where your package is, there's a good chance we also don't know where your package is because USPS didn't scan it. I've gotten at least 20-some emails. I don't know the exact number. I know it was 20 last I checked of people who don't have an eye on their products, and that's not a good time. But we are doing everything we can. There are a few people I'm talking with specifically trying to find solutions to your specific problems. This year in regards to shipping is just bonkers. I myself have tried to go to the post office 3 separate times at 3 different time frames So not like I've been going at 9 o'clock in the morning each day, like, various different times. And every single time, the wait in line is 2+ hours. So get your orders in early, get it taken care of, and hopefully you'll see your packages for the holidays. But if you're like me, most of your packages that you're sending to people or trying to get for folk are just out of your control. So help me, Bog Mummy. Do not know where some of them are. And that's not a reassuring thing to hear. It's not good, but I just want to be honest in that capacity of, like, our warehouse team is crushing it in terms of getting things out. But the USPS is dropping the ball. So with the answering question, aside from Gamagami, this is from Dark Angel Callie. Aside from Kamigami, do we have a chance of getting another new ecchi or fan service game with big titty waifus? I can't speak to that right now. You can always expect some amount of fan service because of the art style involved with the games, and it depends on the licenses we get. So in that capacity, there is likely one IP that you'll be excited about, but it's not one that I can talk about at this time. And I don't know the graphics and art style that's being chosen for this particular IP. So I can't speak too deeply into that capacity. But that said, those games will always sort of exist in our sphere, but we are trying to branch out into different anime style titles and Japanese specific designer or developer titles to just open up the variety of games that we have. But to specifically talk of that niche, I think there is one IP that's coming up. I think it's next year. I think it's 2021, but it might be 2022. So I just don't know the timelines on their development right now, just because I'm not involved in those ones. So those are some things you can expect there. What else is important right now? Like I said, tonight's is going to be shorter than usual, just because it's the last one of the year. I'm wrapping up a bunch of other work stuff and just getting things ready. But I know we all have games that we're looking forward to, or styles of games that we look forward to. And so hopefully we'll be hitting a bunch of different notes next year, especially because of the delays. You're going to get tons of releases next year. I think I mentioned this on a stream earlier because of how this year went. Our release schedule is all kinds of goofy. The last major releases we had this year were Bessem being a big one, which I always forget about just because it's role-playing and not board games, but it's still an important product there. But board game-wise, Cowboy Bebop, Core Connection, Kamigami, just the 4 Kamigami expansions. We really did not have a huge amount of things because everything got delayed or pushed back or messed with in general, and so it made things weird. But normally I go a little bit longer. I know there's a couple of you watching. If you have questions, I'm going to give it about 5 minutes to answer any questions you might have and make sure that I'm giving you the time you need right now. I'm going to look at those real quick just to see, because I haven't watched any of those, so I don't know. I'm just Googling them on the side just to see if they line up. They're not going to be quite in that. It's different than that. But I think that in terms of the aesthetic, it will be very interesting and very fun and hopefully well received, given the subject material. It is coming from a designer that we have worked with before. Just trying to drop some hints there and then have people play around with that. So it is from a designer that we have a game with already. But it's not in line with at least the connected theme I saw from all 3 of those. So there's that. What is the bruh for, Maxanthia? What is that for? Is it just other things in chat, or is it just me being me? Because it very well could just be me being me. But as always, if you have questions, ask those questions now. I'm going to wrap up around 4:15 my time today, just because I have a lot of things on my plate so that I could get things closer to you. I can't speak to what's going on with Love Battle High School currently. That's more of a Eric question on that one. I'd love to see an expansion for Love Battle High School. I actually enjoy that game a lot. I say actually because I got my first attempt to play it at PAX East. I actually got to play it with Brett, the designer, and it was a ton of fun. It was not the kind of fun I thought I was going to get, but everything together came so well. Any news from E3? Gotcha, Maxanthia. No, it's not going to be in that vein, but there is going to be one, again, depending on what assets they go with, that will be a little bit more fan-servicey. For E3, who is a phenomenal human being. If you haven't had a chance to check out E3 and what they do, because I always love doing shout-outs, Level 99, I know a number of you, especially in our Discord, were excited about Gun and Gun and other games that they have picked up. Level 99, great. But any news on what Japanime products are being kickstarted next year versus just straight to retail release? So Japanime Tactics for sure is a straight to retail release. I've talked about it before. It's going to be 2 starters plus some other stuff there. From our whole catalog, we were just talking about it the other day. It's probably going to be 50-50, if not weighted more towards direct release next year. Trying to keep bigger ticket items, depending on where they fall. So, because we are so certain of Japanime Tactics, like that one's going to be straight release. It starts, at least for us, becoming more of a question as to do we kickstart this versus just produce it on those what ifs. And so we sort of have some breakpoints in our calculations of where we want to put those things. So using great examples is Tokyo Sidekick. We love Tokyo Sidekick internally. We think it's a super fun game. Everybody who got their hands on it internally enjoyed it to no end. And then our Kickstarter, it probably came at a poor time. There's a number of factors there. It's not a game that appeals to everybody. It's got some mechanics that people enjoy, but they may not be put together in the way people wanted them in the end. And so that's a game that we took to Kickstarter because we weren't certain of it from a viability perspective. Which, hopefully, once it is actually here, once, we get those shipments, we get them all out to people, that will change once people have actually gotten their physical hands on it, because I'm not a developer, and the Tabletopia version was as good as I, as a human being, because I am not very smart, could make it. So, hopefully that answers that for you. I know it's not a straight answer of, well, how many, X versus Y, but it should be ratio-wise 50-50 at a minimum, if not upwards of like 70 or 80% straight to retail. I know I tend to be on the side of less Kickstarters versus more direct releases, because I'd rather just launch something and then have it available to all of you and be like, here you go, enjoy. But it doesn't always break down that way. This over here. Okay. Other questions while you have me? As I will always kind of reiterate, especially if there's new folks popping in, this is going to be a shorter one. This is going to be the last one for the year, just because next week is Christmas, and then the week after that is New Year's Day. So you won't see me again for these unless I do something special. until January 8th. We're also going to try to dot in a few more other streams about various things, especially as I start to get pre-production copies of things. When I get pre-production copies, I will then be taking the time to actually do unboxings of them, doing short how-to-plays. Reviewers are much, much better at it than I am, but I want to make sure that we have something for you. You go to our YouTube, you're like, oh, what is Japanime have? Put those things out for you. Because that's what I want to do. But I'll take some more questions. Want to make sure I get some of them in there. And of course, you can always ask questions in the comments. Hit me up on Discord. I always try to solicit questions on social media before we go. So you always have an opportunity to kick things my way before I do these things at the end of the week. Especially because it's my sort of like, hey, while I am here, let's hang out, wrap up the week, talk about the things that had happened. But while we're filling that, if there aren't any questions, I'd love to hear what people's favorite games are right now. I know I asked it on social media earlier, like what games are you waiting to get onto the table? Right now, for me, the new Dune board game, there's a couple of games, like Viscounts, but the new Dune board game, I'm really excited to get on the table. I've been playing a ton of Spirit Island. The new expansion, Jagged Earth from Greater Than Games, is fire. But, again, you have to be a fan of the game like I am. If you don't really like Spirit Island, you probably won't give any shits about Jagged Earth. But as far as I'm concerned, having played a quarter of the new Spirits in Jagged Earth, that game is phenomenal. So, cannot recommend it more. What else has been going on? Haven't picked up Cyberpunk. I'm glad I didn't pick up Cyberpunk, just because I'm slow to that party this year. What else? I don't have any pre-production copies. Nice, Fox Anthony. I want to hear your thoughts. I got a chance. I don't have it. Combat Ready to the Table. I haven't played that one either. There are a huge backlog. That's my problem, especially because I think we're all in the same boat to some extent. I'm lucky that I have some people in my household that I get to interact with and play games with, but not everything. I still have the Ryan Laukat, not Above and Below, but Near and Far, because I loved Above and Below. Near and Far I haven't played, and that game is, I don't even know how old now. So, this year, there have been so many games this year. The year has been pretty garbage overall in terms of the world, and I don't want to reiterate it forever, but there have been so many good games this year, and I am so grateful to see all of the phenomenal publishers and the games they're putting out. I said, again, Ithri with Level 99, another analog to us would be Lion Wing, who we worked with on Testament. I think every publisher is really stepping up their game and really creating phenomenal things or bringing phenomenal games from other locations to wider audiences. So I'm personally really, really excited to see what 2021 holds in terms of new games. That's it really in that regard. There's just so much out there. There's so much fun. But with that said, we'll leave with one final question as we sort of wrap up that I asked to the few of you who are watching and those that are there. What are you looking forward to next year game-wise? What are the games that you are ooh, I can't wait for it? Don't worry about the games that are in our catalog. I will talk about our games all day, every day. That's my job. But I want to, similar to our Discord, I don't care what you talk about. As long as we're all having fun, we're all connecting. For me, I don't even know. I don't even know what's coming up next year that I'm the most excited about. I'm Googling it right now just to be like, what's coming out next year? Board Game Geek, do me correctly. Give me those answers. I want to know. But I also want to know what you're all excited for, because that will probably give me a good indication. There's an Oath expansion. I still need to pick up Oath from Later games. People who did Root and Fort. I gotta get that from them. Okay. Epic 7 Rise. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm always minis are such a, like, at least for me, are such a pain. Frosthaven is next year too. That's exciting. Ooh, Chocolate Factory On the Underground. Reprint Kickstarters next year. Look at you all just tied into all these cool things. I'm over here like a big dum-dum. Tales from the Loop is also expected for next year. That's exciting. So many good things. Is this the one I was thinking of? I'm just going through my, like, scribbled notes I had at one point. I think this is it. Yes. So the big one I'm waiting for, because I'm a dumb nerd and I love just aesthetic things, is Dice Miner. Which is the one that has, like, the mountain and there's a bunch of dice in it. It's got dice drafting. It looks like dumb fun. Okay, Epic 7 Goomstave and High. That could be fun. I'm gonna keep an eye on that, and then I'm gonna come to you later and be like, tell me all about it, because I want it. That is very exciting. Well, folks, as always, I love all of you being here. I love the people who come back and check it out later, but I love the people who hang out. I know it's never really big right now, because I've been inconsistent, and that's not anybody's fault. A lot of it just has to do with internal stuff, but starting next year, we plan to be much more specifically consistent at this time. Yeah, Dice Miner looks like a lot of fun. I'm sure my latency is all kind of weird, and you're getting my answers later. But next year, we're going to have a much more consistent schedule in terms of streaming. We're also going to be doing some partnership stuff that should be really fun. So that's something to be excited about. I plan to do more game days. So just time set aside for you all to come play with us as best you can, especially because virtual shows are going to kind of be the norm. My goal, especially if I can make it happen, is to do a Japanime Games plus friends kind of event. So that's something that I will probably be talking to Ithri about later, just to see how they feel about it, and folks over at Lion Wing and some other friends of mine, like the folks over at Deepwater, etc., and just do a publisher weekend where you get to hang out with all of us and do something fun. That's my goal. It's just fun stuff like that next year. Make it much more community-minded, because without all of you, we're lost. And so it's okay. I mean, 4 may not be the best time. It might be one of those things that I need to do it at like 8 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know. Or maybe I need to do it earlier, like 6 o'clock Eastern time. It's always kind of a gamble. We're going to play with different times. We're going to have at least like one consistent one that you can make sure is there, and then try to do some other stuff and just feel out the time zones. This time zone was honestly just based on what our like peak times exist at on all of our metrics, and so it seemed like this would be a good time frame to like funnel people. But if we're not getting those conversions into this time frame, it may not work. So as always, I love you all. I'm so appreciative for the wonderful community that we do have, and I'll see you all in 2021. Let's make next year an even better year for the community. Let's grow closer and do more fun things together, and let's actually try to get more things done together. But whatever next year brings, I know that it will be a joy for me, because I will have so many of you there with me. So until next time, have a good one. I'm Jackson Wood once more, and you can look forward to those timestamps later. Bye-bye.